From URL Media, I'm Mitra Khalida.
I'm Sarah Lomax, and this is Twice as Good. Today, we're diving into the world of Jamaican music and the legacy of Bob Marley, the subject of the new film, One Love. The first person I want us to get started with is Lloyd Cummings. Lloyd Cummings is a legendary radio DJ. He's been a host on WURD, my radio station in Philadelphia, for over 20 years and doing a fantastic weekly show called Caribbean Connection. And Lloyd, welcome to the podcast. How are you?
Thank you very much. Thank you so much. It's wonderful to be here, especially to talk about Bob Marley.
You've seen the film One Love, correct?
Yes, I've seen it. Excellent.
And so, it takes a very specific swath of Jamaican history when Bob Marley was in a very complicated, in the middle of like a political heated battle where the election between Siaga and Manley was creating a lot of violence and political turmoil in Jamaica. Where were you during that time in the 70s when all of this was happening?
During the 70s, I was in Philadelphia, actually. I had migrated from Jamaica to London in 1960. And I came over to the United States in 1970. So when from 70 to all now, I've been in Philadelphia. So I was right here, but I go back and forth.
And did you were you keenly aware of this moment in Jamaican history when Bob Marley was almost being seen as a peacemaker between these warring factions, and that debate, that complexity of how Marley, this amazing musician, was going to kind of navigate these tensions?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I knew many of the people on the periphery or in the Marley group supporting the band, and the members of the political elite. I knew all of those and knew all of their actions because I used to pay attention to what was happening. Reading the newspapers, and so he was doing his best, using his music to enlighten and encourage and really bring peace to the people.
When was the first time that you encountered Bob Marley's music?
Oh, I encountered Bob Marley's music in the late 60s. And I got on the radio in Philadelphia in 1973. So he was getting into his peak at that time. The music, one of his first tunes, Simmer Down, came out in it came out at Independence in 62. And while all the uptown people were jamming it up at Carib, all the Jamaicans were down at the Ward Theater in Kingston. And it was roadblock because Simmer Down was so payogant at the time because there was it was just the beginning of the people fighting with each other, not with guns, but, and he was organizing even in those days for the people to simmer down, control your temper. It was amazing. Amazing.
I have a naive question, Lloyd, which was the music always political? And as you were being raised in Jamaica, was music as political as what we saw Bob Marley producing?
Yes, indeed. As a matter of fact, it started with the calypso. Before the reggae, before the ska and reggae came along, our music was calypso. And calypso music was the method which all the singers enlightened the populations of all the islands, not just Jamaica, Trinidad, Barbados, St. Kitts, St. Nevis, Antigua, all the islands were enlightened through calypso. So political discussion and community discussion and social discussions all revolved around the music.
Well, I was wondering if we could pivot to the movie, because I think all three of us have seen this now, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And I know Sarah and I loved it because we already talked about it. Lloyd, what did you think of Bob Marley, One Love?
I think it was I think it is, and I know it is a fantastic music, as verified and solidified with the people of the world that have seen it so far. and half the world has not seen it yet. It is a fantastic movie with Bob Marley, the actors Benadair and the lady who played Rita Marley. They all came through very, very well, and it's an excellent movie. And the sound of reggae in theaters all across the world is a true blessing.
Lloyd, let me ask you this, because I've heard a lot of critique about the accent, about the patois, which I thought, as somebody who spent a lot of time in Jamaica, as a young person and into adulthood, I thought the accent was really, really good. The patois was really good, but you tell me what you thought.
Absolutely. I thought the patois was good. Benadier, captured the aspects of it that he needed to capture. So patois has been a very, very important language all along. And endearing language too. They love it. Everybody wants to be Jamaican to learn to speak patois.
Well, and I know for a fact that Jamaicans can dial it up and dial it down, because if they don't want you to know what they're saying, you will not know what they're saying if you don't speak their patois.
Exactly.
But they can also, make it very understandable. And I think it's the most beautiful melodic language when I hear the Jamaican accent and the patois. I just think it's really captivating.
You are not alone.
I think the other thing that was really fascinating to me about the movie was right at the beginning. So if you come into the movie late, you're going to miss this. And to me, this was the most profound part of it, because Ziggy Marley, Bob Marley's son, I think he might be his oldest son.
Yes.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Lloyd.
Yes.
But Ziggy Marley starts the film, just his face, and he says, "Our family endorses this film." He says, because he knows that there's so many people who have feel such ownership of Bob Marley that to me, that endorsement said, you know what, if you don't like the movie, we stand by it. We stand behind it. And to me, that's very, very powerful. And for me, it set the tone of the whole movie. It's family sanctioned story.
I saw that scene and I thought it was a wonderful thing. Very, very inspiring.
When I watched the movie, and I've been a fan of Bob Marley's for my whole life, basically. And he is one of the blackest, one of the most Afrocentric musicians ever, Rastafari, Ethiopia, the whole 9 yards,
all of
Africa Unite. Why does his music translate across all races and ethnicities when he is so clearly, deeply connected and committed to blackness?
What he was saying, that is a powerful question this here. What Bob Marley was saying resonates with all of the world all the time. One of the things that I say on my show on WURD is that we have a reggae song for the eventuality of all the world. Yesterday, today, and tomorrow. There's a reggae song already performed for any incident the world will ever see. And Bob Marley was top notch in that area. All his music, his lyrics, his songs resonate, touch there. One love, let's get together and feel all right. You know what I mean? That song is on a commercial in the United States all over. And when the world is in trouble, he's saying, let's get together and feel all right. Oh, incredible.
I was sandwiched between my 84-year-old father and my 12-year-old watching this. So I was watching the film as much as their reactions, because like you, I was raised with Bob Marley. I was literally born as he was a star. And I think, at least for my 12-year-old, the inherent political nature and also how he's critiquing, he's a product of colonialism. It doesn't get more colonial than his very existence. And that he's critiquing that through the music, but also kind of transcending it. Right. And so I thought that was very powerful. And then, for my 12-year-old who's obsessed with so much Afro funk, Afrobeat now, just like the familiarity that she has as a result of him bringing this to the world stage. Like you could just see her exploding with familiarity at the songs, but not knowing his story. So I think I agree with Lloyd that I think this film is both people like us who kind of thought we knew him, but are now seeing it a little differently. And then there's a new audience. And that was really, really delightful for me to watch that.
What you're saying is so true, because his album Legend, which, 20 years after his death, is one of the most powerful and greatest selling albums ever. Legend by Bob Marley. So the young people are gravitating to him. All the people in the past know him. People who have seen him, they still love him. I still get great responses when I play Bob Marley music on the radio. It's just an incredible experience. I'm one of the only DJs in Philadelphia who interviewed Bob Marley. I have the pictures.
Oh, and so
And
what was that like?
One of my pictures with me interviewing Bob is in the museum at 9 Miles in St. Anne.
What was your experience interviewing Bob Marley? What was that like for you?
It was wonderful. As a matter of fact, my first interview was in Pennsauken, New Jersey. They were staying at a motel in Pennsauken because the band liked to cook their own food. So they brought their pots and pans from Jamaica and they were doing their cooking. And I went over there to interview Bob, and he was not there at the motel at the time. Rita Marley was there. And I was getting ready to leave. I went there with the news director from DAS named Karen Warrington. Both of us went there.
Yeah.
And I was getting ready to leave, and and Rita Marley said, "No, man, don't leave yet, man. Him soon come." And I waited, and it was the most beautiful thing. He laid back in a little settee, and I was working at DAS at the time, and I had one of those reel-to-reel tape recorders. And I interviewed him, asked him questions about his upcoming album and things of that nature. And whenever he came to Philly, one time he was going to sign with Philly International Records with Kenny Gamble and Leon Hoff. And when the tune Confrontation was coming out, they didn't get to sign him, but I met him at the hotel many times. There was a hotel on 17th Street between Sansom and Walnut. There was a hotel right there. And I met him many times there.
So let me ask you this, because the actress who played Rita Marley, I thought was fantastic.
Yeah.
Her name is Lashana Lynch.
Yes.
And I thought both her and the actor who played Bob Marley, they did a fantastic. Benadir did a fantastic job. But one of the things and one of the critiques that I've heard and read about the film is that, like, everybody knows Bob Marley has like lots of children.
Yes.
He had lots of women. Rita Marley, I in the film depicts her as like his, one love, his like true love.
Yes.
From childhood. I don't know if that's accurate or not, but it definitely is reflected in the film. Do you think that the film did that side of Bob Marley's legacy a disservice, that they did not acknowledge or address kind of the complexity of his relationships and the fact that he, had, a lot of women, which some see that as a bit of a character flaw?
Yeah, well, listen, we all have character flaws, but one of the things I must tell you, Bob Marley and Rita Marley was close. This is something that I've seen with my own eyes. When people and girls used to come to the hotel, and there were 2 or 3 or 4 of them in a room, and Bob Marley wanted them to leave, he would go and call Rita Marley, his wife, to put them out of the hotel room, and she did. And there was she was a wonderful person like that. There was a trial to settle his estate in Florida. And the judge, when they discussed all about Bob Marley's children, the judge asked Rita Marley, what of Bob Marley's other children? How are you going to handle that? And Rita Marley said in court, Bob Marley's children are my children. and she took care of all of them. She's a fantastic lady. I think that the lady who played her did a great job. But as you say, they did not cover all the aspects of, his children and all of that. But Bob Marley, Bob Marley's a Jamaican man, it's okay.
Okay. I'm not going to touch that. I'm not going to touch that. And I guess he was a man of a certain generation too. So
yes,
you
he
could,
was a man of a certain generation.
I find it fascinating that there's just been a movie done currently about Bob Marley. I mean, yes, there've been documentaries and things like that, but his life has been so, just enigmatic and fascinating for so long. It's interesting to me that only now have they done a real Hollywood picture about his life, because he clearly warranted it a long time ago. What would you say was the thing that was missing out of the film? And we know that it couldn't cover everything because his life was very, it was he lived a big life. But what was the if there was one thing that you think might have been missing that would have helped to capture the essence of Bob Marley, what would it be in the film?
Very, very powerful question too, because Bob Marley, his lyrics and the songs that he wrote and the songs that he sang had such an impact that the great country of the United States did not want that message to reach black people any part of the globe. Bob Marley was saying, oh, what a rat race, what a rat race. Rasta don't work for no CIA. Those kind of things. Who the cap fit, let them wear it. All his songs were so important and powerful. Zimbabwe. He was invited as the main actress when Southern Rhodesia became Zimbabwe and got their independence. Bob Marley was the artist who went down there to celebrate, and they invited 40,000 people in the stadium and another 40,000 outside who could not get in. He was truly, truly fantastic. And during the war, when they were fighting against Ian Smith in Rhodesia, which became Zimbabwe, they used to wear Bob Marley's picture around their necks, like they wear the cross of Jesus when the Christians do. They used to wear Bob Marley picture. That's how they revered him. And think of, he was a very, very powerful artist. And that aspect of his life was not included in the movie. You know what I mean? But there will be other movies, and they did an excellent job for a first movie, and it's a taste. They got a taste, and they go to the movie and they can hear some serious reggae songs, and it's coming along, like I say.
Today, how is Bob Marley understood? How is his music? Like, I think that his music continues to resonate and reverberate. I have a nephew who is like 6 or 7, and he's running around talking about "Don't worry about a thing." Like everything, every little thing's going to be all right. So what do you think? How does his legacy translate into today? Is his music still perceived as revolutionary, or has it been, because it's used as the soundtrack of tourism things, and it's been used in so many different ways, has it lost its power?
No, it's just getting into its own. As I mentioned earlier, on the radio in America and the world, when the world is in so much trouble and strife everywhere you look, here's a Jamaican man, his voice is on the TVs all over the globe saying, don't worry about a thing. Every little thing is gonna be all right. Think how comforting that is to a lot of people who are under extreme stress. He made another record that says, until the philosophy which holds one race another and against another is totally abandoned, and there will be war. The powers, the United Kingdom, America, Europe, they didn't want those songs to go over to black people, but they can't stop it now because it's on TikTok every day.
That's right. That's right. So let's let's wrap it up. Is there anything I haven't asked you that you want to share about Bob Marley or the movie or just anything?
Go see the movie, everybody. It is a wonderful movie. Bob Marley is a giant in the world. We lost him at the age of 36, and he has left us monumental work. Familiarize yourself with his music and his lyrics and the songs he wrote. There's a song he wrote called Talking Blues. Cold ground was my bed last night. Rock stone was my pillow too. Meaning he was sleeping on the ground on a stone. His head was on a stone. And that is true. That is not made up. There is so much angles to Bob Marley. Go get his music. Go watch the movie and put your hands where you put your heart when they fly the flag and sing the national anthem. God, Bob Marley was worthy of all of that.
All right. Thank you so much, Lloyd. This is Lloyd Cummings, the host of Caribbean Connection on WURD, and he does so much. Other than that, I appreciate you for taking time out to talk with us today.
Thank you for the opportunity.